actually hear power, class, and identity reflected in people's accents in Dune 2.
From the pages of Dune and Dune Messiah.
So let's look at accent as a narrative device in 4 groups of people in Dune 2 to see how they sound shapes how we perceive them. And if you often notice details about how people speak in movies or even find yourself repeating words, subscribe to my channel and click on the bell to learn more about accents. Let's say there are 2 alien races in a story. Their names are the Kikis and the Boobas. But if you had to choose, which one sounds more like a classic bad guy name? The Boobas or the Kikis? Because there's evidence to suggest that how a name sounds affects how we think about it.
It's well known, Your Majesty.
So take the name Harkonnens. It just sounds more harsh, like the K's in Kiki. And you might have noticed all 3 of the main Harkonnens in Dune 2 have a similar gruffness in their voice. First up is Baron Vladimir Harkonnen. He is not cuddly or kind, he's
feared and envied.
Even if he's quite round like the B in Booba suggests. Next is his nephew, Fade Rautha. Not a nice guy.
Fade Rautha. He's psychotic.
What about Rabban?
And that's Fade's brother, Rabban Harkonnen.
Look who's back from the dead.
And they all have this low pitch and deep resonance and the same gravelly aspect to their voice, almost growling.
Like an animal.
But to be honest, I find it hard to understand their pronunciation sometimes.
Is that right?
So if you don't understand what they said, that's 100% your problem. And for character creation, world building, how someone speaks can be a fantastic narration tool. Let's take Fade Rautha.
Strongly motivated by honor. He yearns to be hurt. He loves pain.
So it's no surprise his voice sounds unforgiving.
Bring his body to my quarters.
Because he is.
What happened between him and his mother?
He murdered her.
And we have this thing called the horn effect, meaning we extrapolate and make judgments based on a single negative quality. So, if the characters look ugly or sound bad, they must be bad guys, right?
You are so beautiful, my Baron.
But there's also this halo effect. So, because people in House Atreides tend to speak really clearly, comparatively, they're the good guys, right? They value honor, bravery, and loyalty.
There is no call we do not answer. There is no faith that we betray.
House Atreides accepts!
So the more clearly you speak, the more likely you are to be perceived as having other positive qualities.
That is power.
And if that's something you want, start by coming to my free live American Accent Masterclasses on the last Thursday of each month.
I'm doing this for all of us.
It's the best 2 hours you'll spend all month. Get invited with the link below.
That's an order!
Not really, but speaking of orders, one thing I can't teach you, because as far as I know it's fictional,
at least I hope so,
it's how Paul does something called the voice.
How dare you use the voice on me?
It's a special power used to control people.
Silence!
Because even though the voice is usually reserved for women,
It's lethal for men.
Paul's mother taught him how to use it.
Let him try.
If you want it, make me give it to you. Use the voice.
And it's usually just for the Bene Gesserit, a secret sisterhood who shape and manipulate political events.
That is why we have put many bloodlines at work.
They modulate their voice so that people obey them.
I was right to do it.
But pay attention to the way the word D-R-I-N-K sounds here.
Pla.
What is it?
Clink.
And the Bene Gesserit also speak clearly. So you might think they're on the side of good, but it's more complicated than that.
We are Bene Gesserit. We don't hope, we plan.
Because the Bene Gesserit are plotting and scheming. We might think them villainous, and it seems like Hollywood has a history of giving bad guys certain accents. And you might notice they sound more British than American.
Listen carefully.
For example, listen to the word F-I-G-U-R-E. I was raised in the US, so I would say it like Gurney Halleck.
It's a figure of speech.
But notice how Irulan and the Reverend Mother say the same word, but without the y sound.
Figure. If this Muad'Dib is a religious figure,
Well, I'm a motherly figure.
Another thing you might notice is the lack of some R's. Listen to how they say father, ears, understand, and desire.
Father's ears, understand? Even to your father's ears, understand? Desire.
And remember what happened to Feyd-Rautha's mother?
He murdered her.
But what would you do if you were about to be murdered, but you couldn't speak? You could still communicate by signing. You could covertly tell someone else whether or not someone is lying, for example. And just like spoken languages, signed languages have dialects and even accents of their own. What's another bad guy accent used for enemies in Hollywood?
What do you think? The Libyans!
Well, often Hollywood uses Northern African or Arabic accents.
You've never been on Arrakis?
We are in the deep desert. Only Fremen can survive here.
First thing you must learn, to be one with the desert.
Geography and climate influence how we live, dress, and even communicate. The Fremen speak a conlang called Shakobsa.
How do you call the small desert mouse?
Muad'Dib. The prophet, the one who points the way.
Because of Arrakis' harsh environment, people need to collaborate to survive. So there's probably less linguistic diversity on Arrakis. And on the whole planet, there seems to be only 2 groups.
Northern women.
He's from the south. You didn't notice his accent.
And if you notice that it sounds vaguely Arabic, you're right. And actually, the books contained a lot more of the Arabic influence than ended up in the Neo-Shakobsa for the movie. That also makes sense, given the similarities between the climates of where Arabic is spoken and the climate of Arrakis. Listen closely to the vowels and consonants to pick out some Arabic sounds.
He's asking why we're so late.
Even if the phonetics are different than we're used to in English, we can usually pick up on someone's meaning in their intonation.
He thinks you're spies.
He's so
I got that.
And those nuances are so important in the world building of science fiction and fantasy.
Askishiatsa. Yushla. Kapti kaka. Farashme.
But the Fremens use the sounds already in the desert to communicate as well.
Don't ever listen to the jinn.
So you can hear a sound like a bird as a signal when it's time to move.
Stay here.
And also to alert a patrol that they're on the same side. So why not even weird clicks before an attack?
This isn't over yet.
And did you notice how Zendaya's character, Chani, speaks really Americanized English for a Fremen? But also, Florence Pugh's character, Princess Irulan, doesn't sound very British, even though she's the Emperor's daughter. So tell me why you think that is in the comments. And if you like Doug Chalamet,
It's Timothée.
sorry, Timothée, and you saw Wonka, you might not have even noticed all the different ways that you can pronounce the word Chocolate. So, if you're a word nerd like me, you might like to hear me explain that for you in this video next. I'm Accent Coach Bianca, and I'm on a mission to help people understand accents better. See you in the next video!
So it's done. It's done.